This is a mistake.
It's okay, just feel the connection. You're safe here with me. Good, now hold it. Let your body know it's supported.
The water had gone cold, but that wasn't why Solange was shaking. Jin Song stood at the edge of the bathtub, his hand trailing through the water inches from her bare thigh, close enough that she could feel the heat, but not quite touching. His eyes locked onto hers, dark and unreadable. Does this scare you? Every instinct screamed at her to move, to cover herself, to run. But she'd learned in the 3 days since arriving at his compound that showing fear was worse than feeling it. Yes, she whispered. Good. His fingers moved closer, drawing a line through the water that made her breath catch. Fear keeps you honest, and honesty is the only thing keeping you alive right now. He knew. Somehow he knew about Agent Voss, about the wire hidden in her suitcase, about the impossible choice crushing her since yesterday when the FBI agent broke into her bedroom and gave her an ultimatum that would destroy her either way. Someone came to see you yesterday, Jin Song continued, his tone casual. A man. He was in your room for 7 minutes. Who was he? Her throat was dry. FBI. Agent Marcus Voss. And what did Agent Voss want? She could lie, should lie, but something about the way he was looking at her made lying feel more dangerous than the truth. He wants me to wear a wire, report everything I see and hear. He said if I don't, he'll have me deported to Brazil, where Roberto's widow wants me dead. Jin Song's expression didn't change. And are you going to do it? I don't know yet. For 3 seconds, he didn't move. Then slowly he stood, water dripping from his hand. Honest answer. I appreciate that. He walked toward his door, then paused. If you wear that wire, I'll know within 5 minutes. If you betray me, Solange, you'll spend your last hours wishing the FBI had just deported you. The door closed, and she sat in cooling water, naked and terrified, wondering how she'd ended up trapped between a crime lord and federal agent with her life hanging in the balance. But to understand how she got here, you have to go back 2 weeks to the night a ghost walked into an underground clinic in Dallas and offered her a deal that would either save her or destroy her. Lovies, if you're already hooked and you need to know whether Solange survives this nightmare, smash that subscribe button right now, because between two worlds, beyond all borders, this story is about to take you to places you've never been. We only serve tearjerkers, heartbreakers, and game changers here at Afro-Seoul TV, and tonight you're getting all three. Drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from, because I want to know how far across the globe this story travels and whose heart I'm wrecking tonight. Now let's go back to where it all started. 2 weeks earlier, Solange Batista was living on borrowed time. She'd been in Dallas 3 weeks, working illegally at a clinic that didn't ask questions. Somatic trauma therapy, helping people heal through touch and body awareness. In Brazil, she'd specialized in traumatized children who'd stopped speaking, stopped responding, stopped believing the world was safe. Then she made the mistake of sleeping with her married supervisor. When Roberto Mendez died of a heart attack in her apartment, his widow decided Solange was a murderer who deserved prison. No evidence, no proof, just rage and money and connections that turned her life into a manhunt. So she ran, one-way ticket to Dallas with a tourist visa that had 11 days before it expired and turned her deportable. The clinic was her lifeline. Cash payments, no paperwork, clients who couldn't afford to be picky about credentials. She fit right in. Until the night Jin Song walked through the door. It was almost midnight. The clinic was supposed to be closed. Solange was cleaning up when she heard the lock click and footsteps echo. She turned around. The man standing there made her forget how to breathe. Tall, lean, late 30s, wearing a black suit that probably cost more than her year's rent. Korean. Devastatingly handsome in a dangerous way, all sharp lines and cold precision. His eyes tracked over her like he was cataloging every weakness, every secret. We're closed, she said in English, keeping her voice steady. I know. His accent wrapped around the words. He closed the door. The lock clicked. Solange Batista, 27, born in Salvador, raised in Sao Paulo, psychology degree from USP, Specialization in somatic trauma therapy. You worked at the Recanto Center for 3 years, then started sleeping with your supervisor, Roberto Mendez. Married, 20 years older. He died in your apartment 6 months ago, and his widow thinks you killed him. The air left her lungs. You entered the U.S. on a tourist visa expiring in 11 days. You've been working here illegally for 3 weeks. Your brother Tiago calls every Sunday at 2 p.m., and you lie about how you're doing because you don't want him knowing you sleeping with a knife under your pillow. Who are you? Her voice barely worked. Back Jin Song. He pulled out his phone, showed her a photo. A little girl with long black hair and huge dark eyes, sitting on a bed, staring at nothing. Empty. Shattered. I need you to help my daughter. Of all the things she'd expected, that wasn't one of them. What happened to her? That's not your concern right now. He put the phone away. Her name is Hana, 7 years old, hasn't spoken in 14 months. 7 specialists from 4 countries have failed, but I've researched your work. You have a gift with traumatized children. I don't work with children anymore. You did for 3 years with remarkable results. He stepped closer. $25,000 per week for 90 days. You'll live in my compound with full access to resources. If Hana shows significant improvement, I'll pay you a bonus of $250,000 and personally ensure Roberto's widow never finds you. I have those resources. $250,000, enough to disappear, enough to bring Tiago to the States, enough to stop running. And if she doesn't improve, his smile was winter cold. Then I deliver you to Sao Paulo personally. The widow is offering $50,000 for your location. I could collect right now. Her stomach dropped. You're blackmailing me. I'm offering you a choice. Help my daughter and save yourself, or refuse and face consequences. He checked his watch. You have 5 minutes to decide. That's not enough time. It's generous considering your options. 4 minutes now. I need contract details. Legal protections? 3 minutes. Terms are simple. You live in my compound 90 days. No outside contact without permission. No leaving. No visitors. You work with Hana using your methods. I don't interfere. But outside therapy, you follow my rules completely. You belong to me for 90 days, Miss Batista. Entirely. Belong to him. The words sent dangerous heat through her. 2 minutes. She looked at him, really looked. Saw desperation beneath the cold exterior. Saw the father beneath the predator. And she thought about that little girl with empty eyes and all the children she'd failed in Brazil. 1 minute. I'll do it. His smile was sharp as broken glass. Smart girl. We leave in 1 hour. Pack light. That's how Solange ended up in a black SUV at 1 a.m., driving toward a compound that looked more like a prison than a home. Walls so high she couldn't see the top. Security cameras every 10 feet. Armed guards at the gate who didn't smile. The house was glass and steel, modern and cold, beautiful but untouchable. He led her through marble hallways up to the 2nd floor, stopped at a door. Your room. The space was enormous. King bed, walk-in closet, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking lit gardens. 3 times her Sao Paulo apartment size. Then she saw the 2nd door. Where does that lead? My bedroom. We share a bathroom. Her head snapped toward him. What? The bathroom connects our rooms. Only layout available in this wing. He leaned against the doorframe, amused. Don't worry, I'll knock. That's inappropriate. I need privacy. Then lock your side. You said you'd knock, which implies you have a key. I have keys to every door. He walked into her room, invading her space. Let me be clear. You're here to do a job. Not a prisoner, not a guest. An employee with specific terms. I need to know where you are at all times. The bathroom situation facilitates that. You want to spy on me. I want to protect my daughter from anyone who might harm her, including you until proven otherwise. He stopped in front of her, close enough she had to look up. Tomorrow at 7 a.m., you meet Hana. You'll have full access to the therapy room I've prepared. Whatever you need, you ask. Whatever boundaries you require, you set. But outside therapy, you follow my rules. Understood? What rules? No phone calls without supervision. No internet without monitoring. No leaving. No visitors. No contact with your past. His gaze held hers, and no lying, ever, about anything, because I will know. The way he said her name made something low in her belly tighten. How will you know? His hand came up, and she thought he'd touch her face. Instead, he reached past her shoulder and tapped the wall. Cameras in every common room, audio monitoring except bedrooms and bathrooms, security team reporting hourly. His eyes locked on hers. And I'm exceptionally skilled at reading people, especially beautiful liars who think they can deceive me. I'm not trying to deceive you. Good, then we'll have no problems. He stepped back. Get rest, 7 a.m. sharp, don't be late. He was almost at the door when she found her voice. Why me? Really? There are licensed therapists in Dallas with credentials. Why go through this trouble? He paused back to her. For a long moment, silence. Then quietly, because every other therapist tried to fix her like she was broken. You're the first who might understand she's not broken. She's just lost. There's a difference. The door closed, and she stood alone in her beautiful prison. She checked the bathroom immediately. Black marble, chrome, expensive. The far door led to his room. Her lock worked, but knowing he had keys made it meaningless. She didn't sleep. Every sound made her jump. By dawn, she was exhausted and terrified. At 6:55 a.m., she was dressed. Jeans, black shirt, hair back, no makeup. Professional. At exactly 7 a.m., a knock. Not Jin Song, a woman, mid-40s, Korean, kind eyes, tired smile. I'm Mina. I help with Hana. Mr. Beck asked me to bring you. Solange followed her downstairs through cold hallways to a door at the back. When Mina opened it, Solange's breath caught. He'd recreated her dream workspace, every detail from the wish list in her private journal from Brazil. Padded mats, adjustable lighting, sound system, tactile materials, weighted blankets, sensory toys, instruments, everything she'd wanted and never afforded. He broke into my apartment, she whispered. Read my journal. Mina's smile was sad. Mr. Beck is very thorough. In the center, sitting on a cushion with knees to chest, was Hana. She didn't look up, didn't acknowledge Solange, just rocked slightly, humming tunelessly. Long black hair hid her face. Small hands gripped her knees, knuckles white. Solange's heart broke. She knelt 6 feet away, giving space. Hi, Hana, I'm Solange. I'll be spending time with you if that's okay. Nothing. I came from far away, Brazil. It's warm there. Lots of music and dancing. Do you like music? The humming continued. Same pattern. Solange tried different approaches for 15 minutes. Different tones, questions, techniques from Brazil. Hana might as well have been stone. Finally, Solange just watched. Studied the rocking rhythm, the humming pattern. It repeated exactly every 23 seconds. Precise, like counting something, or trying to forget. What are you trying to forget, sweetheart? Solange whispered. The humming stopped. For exactly 3 seconds, Hana went utterly still, and then started again. Same pattern. But Solange knew, she'd heard, somewhere inside she was listening. Solange glanced at the one-way mirror. Knew Jin Song was watching. This was a test. She started humming too. Not the same melody. A harmony. Something her mother sang when Solange was scared. A Brazilian lullaby about safety and warmth. She matched Hana's rhythm, but added her melody, weaving around the girl's tuneless hum. Hana's rocking slowed, just a fraction. Solange kept humming, gentle and steady. Very slowly, Hana's head turned. Tiny movement. Just enough to see her profile instead of only hair. The smallest movement in the world. It was everything. The next day, Agent Marcus Voss broke into her bedroom. Solange woke to find him at her bed's foot, holding her passport. Shorter than Jin Song, stockier, white, mid-40s. Friendly face until you saw his eyes. Cold, dead. How did you get in? Door was unlocked. He flipped through her passport. Agent Marcus Voss, FBI. Your visa expired 11 days ago. That's deportable. Her heart hammered. Get out. Or what? He smiled. Jin Song is former South Korean intelligence. Now he sells classified information. Arms dealers, drug cartels, terrorists. He's been on our radar 3 years, and you're in his house. That makes you interesting. I'm just helping his daughter. Sure. He dropped her passport on the bed, pulled out a small device. You're wearing this wire, recording everything, every conversation, meeting, person. Report to me twice weekly. No. Yes, or I call Brazilian authorities and tell them where to find the woman wanted in Roberto Mendes's death. His widow has connections, the kind that don't need extradition. Her blood turned to ice. You have until tomorrow morning to decide. He left the wire on her nightstand and walked out. She wasn't choosing between Jin Song and the FBI. She was choosing between 2 different ways to die. That night, exhausted, she ran a bath in the shared bathroom, tried to wash away the impossible decision. She sank into hot water, closed her eyes. That's when his door opened. And that's how she ended up with Jin Song's hand in the water near her thigh, confessing about Voss and the wire. After he left, she sat in cooling water, shaking, then made her decision. She didn't wear the wire. She didn't call Voss. She focused on helping a 7-year-old girl learn to feel safe again. By week 2's end, Hana had touched Solange's hand, hummed in harmony 3 times, looked at her for almost 5 seconds, and in those seconds, something alive flickered in those dark eyes. The smallest progress. Everything. And somewhere between therapy and the dangerous dance with Jin Song and the FBI threatening from shadows, Solange realized she was falling into something she couldn't name with a man who terrified and fascinated her equally. She had 76 days left. She had no idea if she'd survive them. Week 3 started with blood. Solange woke to find Hana standing at the foot of her bed at 3 a.m, silent as a ghost, holding a pair of scissors. Not threatening, just holding them, staring at nothing, humming that same tuneless pattern she always hummed. For 5 seconds, Solange didn't breathe, didn't move. Just watched this 7-year-old girl who hadn't spoken in 14 months stand there with a weapon in her small hands. Hana, sweetheart, she said softly, sitting up slowly. Can you give me the scissors? Nothing, just humming and rocking slightly where she stood. Solange got out of bed carefully, movements slow and deliberate. She knelt down to Hana's level, held out her hand. I know you're scared. I know something hurt you, but you're safe now. Can you give them to me? Hana's eyes focused for the first time, really focused. And what Solange saw in them made her chest tighten. Not emptiness anymore. Terror, raw, bleeding terror. Then Hana dropped the scissors and collapsed into Solange's arms. She didn't make a sound, didn't cry, just gripped Solange's shirt so tightly her knuckles went white and buried her face against her shoulder. Solange held her, rocking gently, humming that Brazilian lullaby, and felt Hana's whole body shake with silent sobs. That's how Jin Song found them 20 minutes later when he came through the bathroom door without knocking. He took in the scene instantly, the scissors on the floor, his daughter clinging to Solange. The look on Solange's face that said everything had just changed. She came to my room, Solange said quietly, with scissors. But I don't think she wanted to hurt anyone. I think she was trying to show me something. Jin Song's jaw was tight. I'll have Mina increase overnight security. No. Solange's voice was firm. That's not what she needs. She needs to know she can come to me when she's scared. Locking her away will only make it worse. She had a weapon. She had scissors. There's a difference. Solange looked down at Hana, who was still clinging to her. Something terrified her tonight. A nightmare, maybe. And she came looking for help. That's progress, Jin Song. That's huge. He stared at them for a long moment. Then, keep her with you tonight. I'll have Mina bring her things in the morning. After he left, Solange carried Hana to the bed, tucked her in, and lay beside her. Hana immediately curled into her side, small body still trembling. Solange kept humming, kept holding her, and somewhere around 4 a.m., Hana finally fell asleep. Solange didn't sleep at all, just watched this broken little girl and wondered what kind of horror had shattered her so completely. The next morning at breakfast, Jin Song was waiting in the kitchen. Solange had never seen him in casual clothes before. Dark jeans, black t-shirt that showed exactly how lean and muscled he was. His hair was slightly messy, like he'd run his hands through it too many times. He looked younger, more human, more dangerous. Coffee? He poured her a cup without waiting for an answer. Thank you. She took it, grateful. Hana was still asleep upstairs. We need to talk about last night. He leaned against the counter, studying her. What you did was reckless. She could have hurt you. She wasn't going to hurt me. You don't know that. Yes, I do. Solange met his eyes. I know trauma. I know what it looks like when someone wants to hurt you versus when they're crying for help. Hana was asking for help the only way she knows how. By holding scissors in the middle of the night. By trusting me enough to show me she's still in there. Still fighting. She set the coffee down. You hired me to reach her. That's what I'm doing. But I can't do it if you lock her away every time she does something unexpected. Jin Song was quiet for a long moment. Then, tell me what you need. I need to know what happened to her. The real story. That's not your concern. I can't help her if I don't understand what I'm fighting against. His expression went cold. No. Jin Song, that's not negotiable. He pushed off the counter, moving closer. Close enough that Solange had to tilt her head back to maintain eye contact. You focus on therapy. I'll handle everything else. That's the deal. The deal is that I help your daughter. I can't do that blind. You've made more progress in 3 weeks than 7 specialists made in over a year. You're doing fine blind. I could do better if you trusted me. Something flashed in his eyes. Anger, maybe. Or something else. Trust is earned, Miss Batista. You haven't earned it yet. Then what do I have to do to earn it? The question came out sharper than she intended. Wear the wire? Betray you to the FBI? Because that seems to be the only thing anyone in this city wants from me. His hand came up, and this time he did touch her. Fingers wrapped around her jaw, tilting her face up, forcing her to meet his gaze. Not rough, but absolutely in control. You want to know what earns my trust? Keep helping my daughter. Keep refusing to betray me. Keep being exactly who you are right now. His thumb brushed along her cheekbone, and the touch sent heat straight through her. And stop asking questions you're not ready to hear the answers to. Her breath caught. What if I'm ready? You're not. He released her jaw but didn't step back. But you will be, eventually. How do you know? His smile was dark and promised things she shouldn't want. Because you're still here, despite the FBI, despite the danger, despite every rational reason to run. You're still here because part of you wants to know how deep this goes. How far you can fall before you hit bottom. He leaned in, lips almost brushing her ear. And I'm going to enjoy watching you find out. Then he was gone, leaving her alone in the kitchen with coffee going cold, and her heart racing so fast she thought it might explode. The therapy session that afternoon was different. Hana was more present, more aware. When Solange brought out watercolors, Hana actually reached for them, chose colors deliberately. Blue, purple, red. She painted on the large paper Solange had spread on the floor. Abstract shapes at first, then something that looked like a room, then figures. Small figure in the corner, larger figures near the door. Solange watched, not interrupting, barely breathing. Hana painted for 20 minutes, then stopped, stared at what she'd created, and for the first time in 14 months she spoke. One word, barely a whisper. Mama. Solange's heart stopped. Behind the one-way mirror, she knew Jin Song had heard it too. Your mama? Solange asked gently. Is that your mama in the painting? Hana nodded, tiny movement, then pointed at the small figure in the corner. Me. Her voice was hoarse from disuse, raw, broken. Where is this, sweetheart? Where are you and your mama? Hana's hand moved to the larger figures. Bad men. Then her finger traced to the door in the painting. Mama left. Left me. The words landed like bullets. Mama left. Left me. Not kidnapped. not rescued, abandoned. Her own mother had left her with bad men and walked away. Solange's hands were shaking. She carefully set down her pen. Hana, honey, look at me. Hana's eyes met hers, dark, terrified, but present. Your mama leaving you, those bad men hurting you, none of that was your fault. Do you understand me? None of it. You didn't do anything wrong. Hana's lip trembled. Then she spoke again, and the words shattered everything. Mama said I was bad, said they could have me. Solange barely made it through the rest of the session before she had to leave the room. She found the nearest bathroom and vomited, her whole body shaking with rage and grief for a 7-year-old girl whose mother had sold her to traffickers. When she finally composed herself and went looking for Jin Song, she found him in his office, standing at the window with a glass of whiskey in his hand, even though it was only 3 p.m. You heard, she said, not a question. Every word. His voice was flat, emotionless, but his hand was white-knuckled around the glass. Jin Song. Her mother's name is Yoon Ji-woo. He didn't turn around. We were married for 4 years, divorced 3 years ago when I discovered she was using again. Pills. She'd been clean when we met, or so she said. After the divorce, she got visitation rights. Supervised visits every other weekend. He drained the whiskey. 14 months ago, she took Hana for her weekend visit and didn't bring her back, reported her missing. Played the grieving mother perfectly. Police searched everywhere. I hired private investigators. 3 days later, they found Hana in an abandoned warehouse with 6 other children. Trafficking ring. Ji-woo had sold our daughter for drug money. Solange's legs went weak. Oh my God. She was arrested, pleaded out. 6 months in rehab, 2 years probation. Her lawyer convinced the judge she'd been under the influence, not in control of her actions. She served 4 months before she got released for good behavior. He finally turned around, and the look on his face was pure murder. She's been clean since then, has a job, an apartment, and according to my lawyer who called this morning, she's filing for reinstatement of parental rights. What? The word came out strangled. Family court in Texas favors mothers, especially mothers who've completed treatment programs and demonstrated rehabilitation. Her lawyer is arguing that she's a different person now, that Hana deserves to know her mother, that I'm an unfit parent due to my business dealings. His laugh was bitter. They're not wrong about that last part. You can't let her near Hana. After what she did, I don't have a choice. The preliminary hearing is in 3 weeks. If the judge sides with Ji-woo, she gets supervised visitation again. And if those visits go well, she could eventually get shared custody. He poured another whiskey. Unless I can prove she's still a threat, which I can't, because legally she's a reformed addict who made one terrible mistake under the influence. One terrible mistake? Solange's voice rose. She sold her daughter to traffickers. I know. He drank. Believe me, I know. But the law doesn't care what I know. It cares what I can prove. And right now, I can't prove anything except that I'm a former intelligence operative with questionable business connections and a daughter who's been in my care for over a year and still isn't speaking. He looked at her. Until today, the weight of it hit her. You need Hana to testify. Not testify. She's 7. But if she can tell a court-appointed psychologist what happened, what she remembers, that could change everything. Ji-woo's lawyer will argue that Hana's memories are unreliable, that she was traumatized by the kidnapping, but can't accurately remember who was responsible. But if Hana can speak, can tell them her mother left her there, said those things to her, he stopped. That's why I hired you, not just to help her heal, to help her remember. Solange felt sick. You're using me. I'm paying you $200,000 to $50,000 to do what you're already doing, helping my daughter find her voice. The fact that her voice might also save her life is not using you. It's survival. Does she know about the hearing? No, and she won't until it's absolutely necessary. Jin Song, she's 7 years old. She just spoke for the first time in over a year. You can't put that kind of pressure on her. You don't have a choice, his control finally cracked. The glass slammed down on the desk. If Ji-woo gets custody, even partial custody, she will destroy what's left of Hana. She will use her for sympathy, for money, for whatever scheme she's running now. and I will lose my daughter permanently. So yes, I need Hana to speak. I need her to tell the truth, because that's the only weapon I have left. The room went silent, except for their breathing. Finally, Solange said quietly, "There's something you should know. Agent Voss came back yesterday, while you were out." Jin Song's eyes sharpened. "And?" "He knows about the hearing. He knows Jiwoo is filing for custody, and he offered me a deal." She forced herself to meet his gaze. "He said if I testify against you, provide evidence of your illegal activities, he'll make sure Jiwoo never gets near Hana. He'll have her arrested on federal trafficking charges. New evidence, new case. She'd go to federal prison for 20 years minimum. In exchange for me going to prison." "Yes." "And what did you tell him?" "I told him to leave." Her voice was steady. "I told him I wasn't interested. But Jin Song, he's not going to stop. He's going to keep pushing. And eventually, he's going to find someone else who will give him what he wants." Jin Song studied her for a long moment. Then he moved around the desk, closing the distance between them until he was standing directly in front of her. "Why did you refuse him?" "Because..." She stopped. "Because why? Because of Hana? Because she'd signed a contract? Because somewhere in the past 3 weeks, she'd started believing that maybe Jin Song wasn't the monster everyone said he was? Or because when he looked at her like he was looking at her right now, she forgot how to think straight? Because Hana needs me focused on her, not on FBI politics," she finished. "That's not the real reason." He stepped closer. She stepped back. Her spine hit the desk. He kept coming until there was nowhere left to go. His hands came down on either side of her, caging her in. "Tell me the real reason, Solange." Her heart was hammering. "What do you want me to say?" "The truth." His face was inches from hers. "Why didn't you betray me?" "Because I don't think you're what they say you are." "I'm exactly what they say I am. I've sold information that got people killed. I've done things that would make you run screaming if you knew the details. I'm not a good man, Solange. I'm not even close." "Then why do you love your daughter so much? Why do you care if a therapist from Brazil lives or dies? Why do you knock before entering the bathroom when you have keys?" Her voice dropped to a whisper. "Monsters don't knock." Something in his expression cracked. For just a second, she saw beneath the cold exterior to the man underneath. Exhausted, desperate, terrified of losing the one thing he loved more than his own life. Then his mouth was on hers. The kiss was nothing like she'd imagined. Not gentle, not careful. Hungry and desperate and demanding, like he was trying to consume her whole. His hand tangled in her hair, tilting her head back, and she opened for him without thinking, without hesitation, kissing him back just as desperately. This was insane. She was kissing her employer, the man who'd blackmailed her, the man the FBI was trying to destroy, the man who was dangerous and broken and completely wrong for her in every possible way. And she didn't care. His other hand slid to her waist, pulling her against him, and she felt every hard line of his body pressed against hers. Felt the barely leashed control threatening to snap completely. Felt the heat between them ignite into something that could burn them both alive. Then he pulled back, breathing hard, forehead resting against hers. "This is a mistake." "I know," she whispered. "You should leave. Take the money you've earned so far and disappear before this gets worse." "I know, but you're not going to." "No." She looked up at him. "I'm not." His eyes searched hers. "Why?" "Because Hana needs me, because you need me, and because I'm tired of running from things that scare me." "I should scare you." "You do, but not the way you think." She touched his face and he leaned into her palm like a man starving for contact. "I'm not scared of you hurting me, Jin Song. I'm scared of you making me want things I can't have." "Like what?" "Like this. Like you. Like a life that isn't running and hiding and waiting for everything to fall apart." He kissed her again, softer this time, but somehow more devastating. Then whispered against her lips. "Stay, please, just stay." "I will," she promised, "for however long you need me." What she didn't say was that she was already in too deep to leave. That somewhere in the past 3 weeks, between therapy sessions and shared bathrooms, and a 7-year-old girl learning to speak again, she'd fallen for both of them so completely that leaving would destroy her as thoroughly as staying might. She'd made her choice. Now she just had to survive the consequences. The preliminary hearing was in 9 days when Yoon-ji showed up at the compound gates. Solange was in the garden with Hana, working on sensory grounding exercises, when Mina came running out, face pale. "Miss Solange, you need to bring Hana inside. Now." "What's wrong?" "Her mother is here." Everything stopped. Hana's hand went rigid in Solange's grip. The humming started immediately, that same tuneless pattern, and her whole body began to shake. "It's okay, sweetheart," Solange said, keeping her voice calm even though panic was clawing up her throat. "We're going inside. You're safe." But Hana wasn't moving. She was frozen, staring at the front gates like she could see through the walls to the monster waiting on the other side. Then she spoke, voice small and terrified. "She's going to take me again. No one is taking you anywhere, I promise." Solange scooped her up, and Hana wrapped around her like a lifeline, face buried in her neck. By the time they got inside, Jin Song was already in the foyer, and the look on his face was murder wrapped in ice. "Take her upstairs," he said to Solange. "Don't let her see anything." "What are you going to do?" "What I should have done 14 months ago." He was already heading for the door. "Jin Song, wait." But he was gone. Solange carried Hana upstairs, but they could hear voices from the foyer. A woman's voice, high-pitched, pleading. Then Jin Song's, low and deadly. "You're not welcome here, Jiwoo. I have a right to see my daughter. The court said the hearing is in 9 days. Until then, you don't exist to us. Please, Jin Song, I just want to talk to her." 5 minutes. "I'm different now. I'm clean. I'm better. She needs to know that her mama loves her. Her mama sold her to traffickers for drug money. That's what she needs to know." A pause. Then, "I was sick. I wasn't myself. The lawyer said, I don't care what the lawyer said. You touch my daughter, you come near this property again before the hearing, and I will make you disappear in ways that will never be traced back to me. Do you understand?" Silence. Then footsteps, a car door slamming, an engine starting. When Jin Song came upstairs 20 minutes later, Solange was sitting on her bed with Hana curled in her lap, still shaking. He looked at his daughter, and something in his expression broke. "I'm sorry, baby girl," he said quietly, kneeling in front of them. "I'm so sorry." Hana lifted her head, looked at him. "Don't let her take me." "I won't, I promise." He reached out, and Hana grabbed his hand, holding on tight. "No matter what happens at that hearing, I won't let her hurt you again." But Solange could see the fear in his eyes, the knowledge that promises meant nothing if the court sided with Jiwoo. That night, after Hana finally fell asleep in Solange's bed, Jin Song came through the bathroom door without knocking. He looked exhausted, defeated. Nothing like the cold, controlled man she'd met 4 weeks ago. "Talk to me," Solange said from where she sat by the window. He didn't answer right away, just poured himself whiskey from the bottle he'd brought with him and sat on the edge of the bed, careful not to disturb Hana. Her lawyer called after Jiwoo left. They're pushing for an emergency motion to allow supervised visitation before the hearing, arguing that preventing a mother from seeing her child is harmful to the child's well-being. He laughed bitterly. As if Jiwoo gives a damn about Hana's well-being. Can they do that? Grant visitation before the hearing? If the judge agrees, yes, the motion hearing is in 3 days. He drank. My lawyer thinks we might lose. That's insane. After what Jiwoo did, she completed her program. She's been clean for over a year. She has a job, an apartment, character witnesses who'll testify she's changed. And I'm a former intelligence operative with business dealings. I can't explain in court without incriminating myself. He looked at her. They're going to paint me as the dangerous one, Solange. And they're not entirely wrong. She moved from the window, sat beside him on the bed. You're not dangerous to Hana. You're the only thing keeping her safe. Am I? Because from where I'm sitting, I've put her in more danger than Jiwoo ever could. The FBI watching this house. My enemies who'd love to use her as leverage. The fact that I've hired an unlicensed therapist working illegally in the country to treat her. He looked at her. If they dig into your background, if they find out about Roberto, about the widow hunting you, about your expired visa, they'll use it to prove I have terrible judgment, that I'm putting Hana at risk. Solange's blood went cold. They wouldn't. They absolutely would. Jiwoo's lawyer is already digging. It's only a matter of time before they find something they can use. Then I'll leave, before the hearing. I'll disappear, and they won't be able to use me against you. No. His hand caught hers. That's not what I want. What do you want, Jin Song? He looked at her for a long moment, then pulled her closer until she was straddling his lap, faces inches apart. I want things I have no right to want, things that will destroy both of us if I'm not careful. Like what? Her voice was barely a whisper. Like you, here, in my bed, under me, around me, everywhere. His hands slid up her thighs, gripped firm. I want to know what you sound like when you come. Want to see if you're as fearless in the dark as you are in daylight. Want to ruin you for any other man who'll ever touch you after I'm done. Heat flooded through her. Jin Song. But I can't, because you're here for Hana. Because crossing that line means I'm using you the same way everyone else has. And because if I start, I won't be able to stop. His forehead pressed against hers. So tell me to leave, Solange. Tell me to get out before I do something we'll both regret. She should. She absolutely should. This was her employer. The man whose daughter she was treating. The man the FBI wanted to destroy. Getting involved with him was professional suicide and possibly literal suicide if things went wrong. But when she looked at him, all she saw was exhaustion and desperation, and a man who'd been fighting alone for so long, he'd forgotten what it felt like to let someone help carry the weight. Stay, she whispered. His eyes darkened. Solange. I said stay. Her hand slid up his chest, feeling the rapid hammer of his heart. I'm tired of pretending I don't want this. Don't want you. I know it's wrong. I know it's complicated. I know it could destroy everything, but I don't care anymore. You should care. But his hands were already sliding under her shirt, calloused palms against bare skin, and she felt him shudder. God, you should care. Make me care later. She kissed him and it was gasoline on fire. Right now, just make me feel something other than terrified. He kissed her back like a man drowning, like she was air and he'd been underwater too long. His hands were everywhere, pulling her closer, tugging at clothes, mapping skin he'd clearly been thinking about for weeks. And when he laid her back on the bed beside his sleeping daughter and covered her mouth with his hand to keep her quiet, when he made her come apart with nothing but his fingers in his mouth and whispered filth in her ear about everything he was going to do to her later when they had more time and privacy, she realized she was completely, irrevocably lost. This wasn't just physical. This wasn't just attraction or convenience or two desperate people reaching for comfort in the dark. This was falling, fast and hard and with no safety net to catch her when it all came crashing down. And the worst part was knowing it would crash, knowing that men like Jin Song didn't get happy endings, that women like her who fell for them burned up in the flames. But as she lay there afterward, his arm around her waist, his breath warm against her neck, Hana sleeping peacefully beside them like they were a real family instead of a beautiful disaster waiting to happen, she thought maybe burning was worth it if this was the fire. The motion hearing 3 days later was a nightmare. Jiwoo showed up looking like a completely different person. Clean, put together, sober, hair pulled back in a neat bun, conservative dress, minimal makeup. She looked like a concerned mother fighting to reunite with her daughter, not a woman who'd sold that daughter to traffickers. Her lawyer was smooth, presented rehabilitation records, employment verification, character witnesses who testified she'd been attending support groups, volunteering at a women's shelter, doing everything right. Jin Song's lawyer tried to fight back, but without Hana's testimony, they had nothing but old accusations and a trafficking arrest that Jiwoo's lawyer spun as a tragedy caused by addiction, not malice. The judge listened to both sides, then ruled that supervised visitation would begin immediately. 2 hours, twice a week, with a court-appointed supervisor present. Jin Song's face went blank, empty, the look of a man watching everything he loved slip through his fingers. That night, he didn't come to Solange's room, didn't come through the bathroom. She found him in his office at 2 a.m., drunk, staring at nothing. Jin Song, she's going to take her. His voice was hollow. The visitations will go well because Ji-woo will be on her best behavior. She'll charm the supervisor, play the reformed addict, and in 3 months, 6 months, she'll get partial custody, then shared custody. Then Hana will spend half her life with the woman who destroyed her. He looked at her. And I can't stop it. I can't protect her. I'm completely powerless. Solange knelt in front of him. You're not powerless. We still have the hearing. We still have time to what? Hana spoke, yes, but she's 7. Her testimony isn't enough. Ji-woo's lawyer will tear it apart, say she's been coached, that her memories are unreliable. Unless we have concrete evidence that Ji-woo is still a threat, we lose. Then we find evidence. There is no evidence. She's clean. She's following every rule. No one changes that completely in 14 months. Not from trafficking your own child to model citizen. Solange's mind was racing. She's hiding something. She has to be. Even if she is, we can't prove it. I've had investigators watching her for weeks. Nothing. She goes to work, goes home, attends her meetings. She's either genuinely changed or she's smart enough to keep her activities hidden. He grabbed Solange's face. I need you to promise me something. Anything. If Ji-woo gets custody, if this goes wrong, you take Hana and you run. I have money set aside, fake documents, new identities. You take her somewhere Ji-woo will never find her, and you keep her safe. Jin Song, no, I'm not taking your daughter. Yes, you are, because she loves you. She trusts you, and you're the only person in this world I trust to protect her if I can. His eyes were desperate. Promise me, Solange. Promise me you'll save her if I can't. Tears burned her eyes. I promise. But it's not going to come to that. We're going to fight this. We're going to win. But even as she said it, she didn't believe it. The first supervised visit happened 2 days later. Hana screamed when she saw Ji-woo, screamed and fought and clung to Solange with strength that shouldn't have been possible for a 7-year-old. It took 20 minutes in both Solange and Jin Song to calm her down enough to even enter the visitation room. Ji-woo cried, played the heartbroken mother perfectly, told Hana how much she missed her, how sorry she was, how much she loved her. Hana didn't say a word, just sat there frozen while her mother talked and the supervisor took notes. After 2 hours, when they finally got Hana back to the car, she vomited all over the back seat, then curled into a ball and didn't speak for the rest of the day. That night, Solange found Jin Song in the garage, beating his fist bloody against a punching bag. This is killing her, he said between hits. Forcing her to see Ji-woo is undoing everything you've worked for, everything she's gained. And I can't stop it. I can't protect her from the one person who should have protected her. Jin Song, stop. You're going to break your hands. She grabbed his wrist, forced him to look at her. We need a different strategy. We need... Her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Then something made her pick up. Miss Batista? A woman's voice. Unfamiliar. My name is Detective Sarah Chen. I work organized crime in Dallas PD. I need to speak with you about Yoon Ji-woo. It's urgent. Solange's heart stopped. She looked at Jin Song, who'd gone completely still. I'm listening. Not over the phone. Can you meet me tomorrow? Alone. There's something you need to know about Ji-woo's activities. Something that could change everything in that custody hearing. But I need your help to prove it. What kind of activities? The kind that suggests she hasn't changed at all. She's just gotten better at hiding. A pause. Meet me tomorrow, 2 p.m. I'll text you the address. And Miss Batista, don't tell anyone about this call. Not even Mr. Beck. Not yet. If Ji-woo finds out we're investigating her again, she'll disappear and we'll lose our chance to stop her. The call ended. Solange stared at her phone, then at Jin Song. That was a detective. She says Ji Woo is hiding something that could win us the hearing. For the first time in days, something like hope flickered in his eyes. Did she say what? No, she wants to meet tomorrow. Alone. She said not to tell anyone, not even you. Jin Song's expression darkened. That could be a trap. Or it could be our only chance. Solange grabbed his hands. I have to go. If there's even a chance this detective has something that can help Hana, then I'm coming with you. She said alone. I don't care what she said. You're not walking into a meeting with a stranger without backup. Not in this city. Not with everything that's happening. Jin Song. That's not negotiable. He pulled her against him, and she felt how badly he was shaking. I've already lost too much. I'm not losing you too. The way he said it made her chest ache. Like she mattered. Like she was more than just a therapist he'd hired. Like somewhere in the past month, she'd become something he couldn't afford to lose. Okay, she whispered. We'll go together. What neither of them knew was that Detective Chen wasn't working alone. And the person she was working with was about to turn their entire world inside out. The address Detective Chen sent was an abandoned office building in East Dallas, the kind of place where windows were boarded up and graffiti covered every surface. Solange's instincts screamed this was wrong, but Jin Song was beside her, and he'd brought two of his security team who were now positioned outside. Stay close to me, he said as they walked into the dark lobby. If anything feels off, we leave immediately. But it was already too late. The lights came on, flooding the space with harsh fluorescence, and standing in the center of the room wasn't Detective Chen. It was Agent Marcus Voss, and beside him, smiling like she'd already won, was Yoon Ji-woo. Hello, Jin Song, Ji-woo said sweetly. Miss Batista, thank you for coming. Solange's blood turned to ice. What is this? This, Voss said, is the end of your options, both of you. He held up his phone and Solange saw surveillance footage playing. Footage of her and Jin Song in her bedroom. Footage of them kissing. Footage that was damning and intimate and completely illegal to have recorded. You bugged my bedroom, Solange whispered. You recorded us. I recorded everything, every conversation, every moment. Voss smiled, including the very interesting discussion about fake documents and plans to flee the country with a minor child. That's conspiracy to kidnap, Mr. Beck. Federal offense, 20 years minimum. Jin Song's face went blank. Empty. The mask he wore when he was calculating how to kill someone and make it look like an accident. What do you want? His voice was deadly calm. What I've always wanted. Your network, your contacts, your entire operation handed over to the FBI in exchange for immunity. Voss gestured to Ji-woo. And she wants her daughter back. Full custody, no more hearings, no more fighting. You sign over your parental rights, cooperate with our investigation, and we forget about the kidnapping conspiracy charges. Everyone walks away. Except me losing my daughter, Jin Song said flatly. Except that. Voss shrugged. But that's better than federal prison, isn't it? At least this way you're alive to regret your choices. Solange looked at Ji-woo, really looked at her. Saw the cold calculation behind the concerned mother act. You planned this, the whole reformed addict thing, the custody fight. You've been working with the FBI this entire time. Of course I have. Ji-woo's smile was poison. Did you really think I spent 14 months getting clean and playing nice because I suddenly cared about being a good mother? Please, I hate that little brat, but she's worth something. To him, to the FBI, to everyone who wants to bring down the great Buck Jin Song. She looked at her ex-husband. You should have just paid me when I asked. $2 million to disappear forever. That's all I wanted, but you refused, called me a monster, threatened me. So I found people who'd pay me more to destroy you instead. How much? Jin Song asked quietly. How much did the FBI pay you to betray your own daughter? $5 million, plus immunity for the trafficking charges, plus a new identity when this is over. She shrugged. Not bad for a few months of pretending to care. Solange felt sick. You're going to take custody of Hana just to hurt him? Knowing what you did to her? knowing she's terrified of you? I'm not keeping her. God, no. Once custody is finalized, I'll sign her over to the state. Foster care, adoption. Whatever, I don't care. Ji-woo examined her nails. She'll be someone else's problem. But Jin Song will spend the rest of his life knowing he lost her because of his own choices. That's worth more than money. The rage that crossed Jin Song's face was apocalyptic. He moved so fast Solange barely saw it, had Ji-woo by the throat and slammed against the wall before Voss could even react. You think I won't kill you right here? Jin Song's voice was soft, terrifying. You think I care about consequences when you're threatening to destroy my daughter's life? Jin Song, don't. Solange grabbed his arm. This is what they want. They want you to do something stupid so they can arrest you right now. Voss already had his gun drawn. Step away from her, Bak, or I will put you down. For 5 seconds, nobody moved. Jin Song's hand was still around Ji-woo's throat, and she was turning red, gasping, eyes watering. Then slowly he released her. You have 24 hours, Voss said. Sign the custody papers. Give us your network, or we release this footage to every news outlet in Dallas. Charge you with conspiracy to kidnap, and Ji-woo gets custody by default when you're arrested. Your choice. Jin Song looked at Solange, and in his eyes she saw defeat. Saw a man who'd fought his entire life and finally hit a battle he couldn't win. Let's go, he said quietly. They walked out in silence, got in the car, drove halfway back to the compound before Jin Song finally pulled over on the side of the road and put his head in his hands. I can't do it, his voice cracked. I can't give her to Ji-woo, but I can't go to prison and leave Hana with no one. There's no way out of this. They've got me cornered. Solange's mind was racing. There had to be something, some angle they weren't seeing. What if we expose them first? Go public with what Ji-woo admitted? That she's working with the FBI? That she plans to abandon Hana after getting custody? We have no proof. It's our word against theirs. And we were recorded illegally entering a private meeting. He looked at her. Voss planned this perfectly. Every exit blocked, every option eliminated. He's been building this trap for months and I walked right into it. Then we run, tonight, take Hana and disappear like you planned. They'll be watching. The second we try to leave with her, they'll arrest me for kidnapping and take her anyway. He laughed bitterly. I've built an empire on information and leverage, and when it matters most, I have nothing. Solange grabbed his face, forced him to look at her. You have me. You have Hana. You have people who love you and will fight for you. That's not nothing. It's not enough. Then we make it enough. She pulled out her phone. You said Ji-woo's been clean for 14 months, attending meetings, following every rule. But she just admitted she's been lying this entire time. That means somewhere there's evidence, proof she's not actually clean. We find that, we destroy her credibility. The custody case falls apart. We have less than 24 hours. Then we work fast. She started typing. I know someone from Brazil, an investigator who owes me a favor. If Ji-woo is using again, if she's doing anything illegal, he can find it. Solange, trust me, please. Just trust me. He stared at her for a long moment, then kissed her, hard and desperate and full of everything he couldn't say. If this goes wrong, if they arrest me, you take Hana and you run. The documents are in my office safe. Code is her birthday. Money's in offshore accounts. Instructions are all there. It's not going to come to that. Promise me anyway. I promise. But Jin Song, we're not losing. Not today. Not to them. The next 18 hours were chaos. Solange's contact in Brazil came through. Sent photos of Ji-woo meeting with known dealers 2 weeks ago. Sent bank records showing cash deposits that didn't match her employment income. Sent evidence that she'd been using again for at least 3 months while maintaining her clean appearance for the court. Oh, but it wasn't enough. They needed something more. Something undeniable. That's when Hana spoke up. They were in Jin Song's office, planning their next move, when Hana appeared in the doorway. She'd been with Mina, supposedly sleeping. But she was wide awake holding something in her small hand. Hana, sweetheart, You should be in bed, Solange started. Mama gave me this. Hana held out her hand. In her palm was a small plastic bag with white pills. At the visit, she said it was candy, said to hide it and not tell anyone. But it's not candy, is it? Jin Song went absolutely still. No, baby girl, it's not candy. She wanted me to get sick, so you'd get in trouble. Hana's voice was small but clear. I heard her tell the supervisor she was worried about my medicine, that you might be giving me the wrong things. She wanted me to take these so it would look like you hurt me. The pieces fell into place. Ji-woo had been planning to frame Jin Song for medicating Hana improperly. Another weapon in her arsenal to take custody. But she'd made one critical mistake. She'd underestimated a 7-year-old girl who was smarter than anyone gave her credit for. Can I keep this, sweetheart? Jin Song asked gently. It's evidence. It's going to help us. Hana nodded, then looked at Solange. Are you going to leave when this is over? Solange's heart broke. I don't know, honey. That depends on a lot of things. I don't want you to leave. Hana climbed into Solange's lap. You make Papa smile, and you make me feel safe. I want you to stay forever. Over Hana's head, Solange met Jin Song's eyes, saw everything he felt reflected there. Want, need, fear, hope. I want to stay too, she whispered. The emergency hearing the next morning was a war. Jin Song's lawyer presented everything. The photos from Brazil, the bank records, the pills Hana had been given, the recordings Solange had secretly made on her phone when Ji-woo had admitted she didn't want custody, that she planned to abandon Hana. Ji-woo's lawyer tried to fight back, but the evidence was overwhelming. And when Hana took the stand, when she told the judge in her small, clear voice exactly what her mother had done, what she'd said, how she'd given her pills and told her to hide them, the case was over. The judge revoked Ji-woo's parental rights permanently, ordered an investigation into her deal with the FBI, and granted Jin Song sole custody with no visitation rights for Ji-woo ever. Agent Voss was in the courtroom, watched his entire operation collapse. Left without a word, but Solange saw the promise of revenge in his eyes. This wasn't over, not by a long shot. But today, they'd won. Outside the courthouse, Jin Song picked up Hana and held her so tight she squeaked. It's over, baby girl. She can't hurt you anymore. I promise. Is Solange staying? Hana asked. He looked at her over his daughter's head. That's up to her. Solange walked over, wrapped her arms around both of them. I'm staying, for as long as you'll have me. Forever? Hana asked hopefully. Forever, Solange promised. 3 months later, Solange was officially licensed to practice therapy in Texas. Jin Song had connections, apparently, and pulled strings she didn't ask about. Her visa situation was resolved. The widow in Brazil had been paid off to drop her accusations. Everything that had kept her running was handled. She opened a practice specializing in childhood trauma. Hana was her first success story and her best advertisement. Within weeks, she had a waiting list. 6 months later, Jin Song proposed. Nothing fancy, just the three of them in the garden where Solange had first heard Hana speak. A ring that was probably worth more than her old apartment in Sao Paulo, and a question that changed everything. Marry me, not because you're Hana's therapist, not because you're trapped or obligated, but because I love you, because you saved both of us, because I want to spend the rest of my life proving I'm worth the risk you took on me. She said yes before he finished talking. The wedding was small, intimate, just family and the people who'd fought beside them. Hana was the flower girl, wearing purple because it was her favorite color, smiling and laughing, and nothing like the silent, frozen child Solange had met 7 months ago. Agent Voss sent a card. No message, just a card. The threat was clear. He wasn't done with them. But Jin Song had already dismantled half his network, gone legitimate with his security consulting business. He'd made enemies cooperating with federal investigations on other targets, buying goodwill and protection. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't safe, but it was better. 1 year after the wedding, Solange gave birth to a son. They named him Raphael after her father. Hana was obsessed with her baby brother, constantly wanting to hold him, sing to him, protect him. She's going to be the best big sister, Solange said one night, watching Hana rock Raphael gently while humming that same melody she used to hum when she was scared. But now it sounded different, hopeful, happy. Jin Song wrapped his arms around Solange from behind. You saved us. You know that, right? We were both dying in different ways before you showed up, and you brought us back to life. We saved each other. She leaned into him. That's how it works between people who love each other. You don't keep score. You just keep fighting together. Even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. He kissed her neck. I love you. I love you too. 3 years later, life had settled into something that almost looked normal. Jin Song's business was thriving. Solange's practice had expanded. Hana was in therapy herself now, working through trauma, but she was bright and social and healing. Raphael was too, and chaos personified. They built something beautiful from the wreckage. But the past never stayed buried forever. The package arrived on a Tuesday. No return address. Inside was a photo of their family taken 2 days ago at the park, and a note. Congratulations on your freedom. Now let's see how long it lasts. K. Underneath was a dossier. Information on Jin Song's work in South Korean intelligence. Names of people he'd worked with, operations he'd run, things he thought were buried permanently. And at the bottom, a message. They're coming for you. The people you betrayed, the governments you stole from. They know where you are. They know about your family, and they want what you took. You have 2 weeks to return everything, or your wife and children pay the price. Jin Song read it once, handed it to Solange without a word. She read it, then looked at him. Who's K? Kang Min-jun, my former handler in Korean intelligence. I testified against him to get immunity in the U.S. He went to prison for 15 years. Jin Song's jaw was tight. He got out 6 months ago. I had people watching him, but he disappeared 3 weeks ago. So this isn't over. It wasn't a question. No, it's never over. Not for people like me. Solange should have been terrified, should have grabbed the kids and run. But instead, she took his hand. Then we face it together, like we faced everything else. Solange, I said together, Jin Song, you, me, Hana, Raphael, we're a family. We don't run, we fight, and we win. She pulled him close. Whatever's coming, whatever threat is out there, we handle it together. He held her like she was the only thing keeping him anchored to the ground. I don't deserve you. Probably not, but you're stuck with me anyway. From the doorway, Hana's voice. Are we in danger? They both turned. She was standing there, 11 years old now, too smart for her own good, watching them with eyes that had seen too much but still held hope. Yes, Jin Song said honestly. He'd never lied to his daughter. We are, but we're going to handle it. Like we handled Mama? Hana asked. Exactly like that. She nodded. Okay, then we'll be fine, because we're together, and together we're stronger than anything. Solange smiled. When did you get so wise? I learned from the best. Hana looked at both of them. You taught me that family doesn't run when things get hard. Family fights. So that's what we'll do. That night, after the kids were asleep, Jin Song and Solange sat in his office, planning their next move. They had 2 weeks to figure out what Kang Min-jun wanted, what he had on them, and how to neutralize the threat. It wouldn't be easy. It would probably be dangerous. But they'd faced worse and survived. Ready for round 2? Jin Song asked. Solange smiled. With you? Always. Because that was the truth. Whatever came next, whatever battles they'd have to fight, they'd face them the way they'd faced everything else. Together. Burning bright. Utterly fearless. Between two worlds, beyond all borders, they'd built something unbreakable. A family forged in fire and blood and love that refused to quit. And whatever Kang Min-jun brought to their door, whatever hell tried to tear them apart, they'd survive it. Because some love stories didn't end when the credits rolled. Some love stories kept fighting, kept burning, kept winning against every odd. This was one of those stories, and it was far from over. Lovies, if you made it this far and your heart is racing like mine is, you already know what I'm about to say. Between two worlds, beyond all borders, we just gave you exactly what we promised. Tearjerkers, heartbreakers, and game changers wrapped up in one beautiful, brutal package. Hit that subscribe button because this is what we do here at Afro-Seoul TV. And trust me, we're just getting started. Drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from because I need to know how far across this planet this story traveled and whose heart I absolutely wrecked tonight. From Dallas to Sao Paulo to Seoul to wherever you are right now, this is our family and we're just beginning to tell the stories that matter. Welcome home, lovies. Welcome home.